in families where no parent has a full-time year-round unemployment is 203,000. Things are not well. And yet in the face of these real challenges, when you ought to be coming together, Republican and Democrat, to work what is best, in far too many places like here, these extremists are selling the myth rooted in coded racism and classism. And this is what they suggest, that the pathway to a greater Alabama or a greater America looks like this. And just break it down. This is what they are trying to sell to us, Fire. If you want a great Alabama, deny health care. This is what they're selling. If you want a great Alabama, deny living wage. You want a great Alabama, deny minimum wage. You want a great Alabama, deny immigrants' rights, deny women's rights, deny labor rights, deny LGBT rights, deny fair tax policy that helps the poor and working poor, deny the poor safety net, deny environmental justice. If you really want a great Alabama, call the president everything but a child of God. Call him a thug, call him a criminal, call him unfit, call him not intelligent, call him a liar. Criticize his suits. Criticize his wife when she tries to make children eat their vegetables. Support him for war, but don't support him when he's trying to help the less fortunate in America. This is their vision. Then after you've done that, and you think people might be mad and want to vote you out, deny and abridge and suppress the right to vote by passing unnecessary and unconstitutional voter ID programs, lie about fraud, pass redistricting plans like the one here in Alabama that uses race to dilute black voting strength and creates forms of political apartheid with the black vote. And then after you've created all this division and created all this strife, got everybody mad, make sure that people can get a gun quicker than they can vote. And this is not a moral agenda. It's an extremist agenda. It's the low road. It's not higher ground. It's an attempt to make government for those, for the haves and not for the have-nots. This vision is a nightmare. This vision is constitutionally inconsistent. It is historically insensitive. It is morally indefensible, and it is economically insane. But they believe, like in our state, that a temporary supermajority, temporary, because no lie lives forever, a temporary supermajority gives you the right to run roughshod over the Constitution. My friends, we are in a moral crisis. Not merely a political crisis, not a left-right or a conservative versus liberal, but a moral crisis. Because anytime, I don't care what party they're in, Democrat will take power and use that power to hurt the least of these, it is a moral crisis. And so in every state we need movements, not rally, but movements. That's why y'all gonna rally today. You're gonna turn the vote out, but when February comes, you're gonna come back here and meet them. You gotta have a movement that's beyond conventional politics. A movement, look at that, brings folk together in Alabama that they don't like coming together. You see that? We must become the trumpets of conscience. We cannot be silent. Tell your neighbors that now is the time. Here is the place. We are the people. And we shall be heard. Our movement is one that believes that we should be going forward. That the moral purpose of political power is to go forward and not to go backwards. That political power should be used in the service of progressivism and not in the service of regressive extremism. I tell you, it's extreme and mighty low to deny Medicaid for thousands of people. Especially when you know that people will die. That's low down. And the report says The Governor Bentley and this supermajority, keep your eye on the legislature and the governor. One writer said he continued to push their jobs program. And here's the jobs program: hiring outside lawyers and consultants to defend unconstitutional legislation. That's how they increased the jobs in Alabama. Do you know that in Alabama, if you had accepted Medicaid, 10,500 Alabamans would be reduced from facing catastrophic disruption of their lives? 33,000 Alabamans would have had more money to pay their bills. Listen, but even they claim to be conservative, man, Ford. They claim to be concerned about the economy. Alabama, because of the decisions of Dr. Bentley, will lose $3.63 billion in federal funds, and will lose 15,000 additional jobs, $2.6 billion in increased economic activity. And they doing all of that because they don't like little black girls having pajama parties in the White House. Something wrong with that. Because you don't like a president. It's mighty low to raise taxes on poor people. It's mighty low to push policies that resegregate and defund our public schools and attack our teachers. It's mighty low for us to sing, America, America, God shed his grace on you with one breath, and then deny grace and safety nets to the needy, and deny immigrants the grace of fair immigration policies, and deny the grace to women and the LGBT community. It's mighty low. It's mighty low to wave banners and put bumper stickers on your card saying, God bless America, but fail to realize our obligation to bless God by how we treat our brothers and sisters. And it's mighty low, after all of that, to commit crimes against democracy. And that's what it is whenever you try to undermine the promises of the 15th Amendment and the voting right. It's a crime against democracy. I don't care if it's Jim Crow or James Crow Esquire, his cousin. It's wrong. And so we need a moral movement. Say moral movement. That believes in pro-labor, anti-poverty policies that create economic sustainability. A moral movement that believes in educational equality for every child. A moral movement that believes in health care for all by assuring access to the Affordable Care Act and Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and protecting the environment. A moral movement that believes in fairness in the criminal justice system by addressing the continuing inequalities in that system for black, brown, and poor white people. We believe in a moral movement protecting and expanding voting rights, women's rights, LGBT rights, and the fundamental principle of equal protection under the law. My friends, we can have strong schools. Our politics can be fair. Our politics can be just, but we got to fight for it. You got to fight for it. And your Constitution in Alabama calls on you to fight for it. It says you have a right, whenever the government is not helping all the people, to change that government. And so in this movement, we're coming together, Bernard. And we just need Alabama. I'm going back to North Carolina. But you got all the prophets you need here. You got all the power you need here. You got all the history you need here. All I want you to do is when they ask you who you are, tell them we're black, we're white, we're Latino, we're Native American, we're Democrat, we're Republican, we're independent, we're people of faith, we're people not of faith who believe in a moral universe. We are natives, we are immigrants, we are business leaders, we are workers, we are the unemployed, we are doctors, we are the uninsured, we are gay, we are straight, we are students, we are parents. We are Alabama, and we are America, and we are here to stay, and we ain't going nowhere. Stand together. And I got one more favor. Every chance you get, don't call them Republicans. No, call them extremists. Because I know good Republicans. My granddaddy was one. Abraham Lincoln was one. He believed in justice and civil rights. Teddy Roosevelt was one. He believed in health care for all, and environmental protection and labor rights and living wage. Dwight Eisenhower was one. Freddie Croak, the daddy of Charles and David Croak, didn't like him, called for his impeachment because Eisenhower said that public education was a matter of national defense and put more money in education than any other president before him. Republicans and Democrats signed off on the Civil Rights Act of 64 and the Voting Rights Act of 65. Black Republicans like Edward Brooks and Ralph Bunche and Jackie Robinson and Benjamin Hook, the past president of the NAACP, stood for labor rights and voting rights. Don't call them Republicans. That's an insult to real Republicans. Call them extremists. Republicans and Democrats called trickle-down economics, voodoo economics. That's why we call them extremists, because we know who they are. This is a Tea Party hijacking of the Republican Party. We're not against Republicans. We're not against Democrats. We are against extremism that's trying to take us backwards rather than take us forward. And we know who we are. We are the children of those that came before us. Rosa Parks not here. E.D. Nixon's not here. Martin King is not here. Cesar Chavez is not here. But we're here in the Lord's name. And we were born for such a time as this. And there's no way we'll ever abdicate our birthright and sell it for a bowl of pottage. So we've come together now. Let us come together to raise our protests. Let us not only raise our voice, but our votes. Because I got something else to tell you. Alabamans, you can't sit out of elections. Whether you win everything or not. There are 181,000 black folk unregistered. I got a word for that in Alabama. It's called trifling. Y'all better talk like I'm talking. All that y'all went through, all that y'all been through, send the call out. It's time to get registered. Yeah, there are unregistered folk. There are 866,000 unregistered folk, black, white, Latino, in this state. Touch your neighbor and say, is that you? Whoever it is too many, and it's time to register, and it's time to vote. It's time to come together, to use every moral essence at our disposal. So let us declare as I close. Tell your governor, tell your legislators, we love you. We don't hate you. We don't want you to go down on the wrong side of history. You're gonna lose, because extremists always lose. After a while, the tide will turn and the pendulum will swing. History always makes its way to higher ground. But even if you don't listen, we have made up in our minds that with deep faith and love, we will fight for the soul of this state together. We will mobilize together. We will organize together. We will pray. We will get off our knees and work together. We will speak truth to power. We will protest. We will commit civil disobedience and go to jail. We will go to court. We will stand up. And we will vote like never before. And I've seen the power of coming together. Down in North Carolina, there wasn't but 17 of us when we started. They called us morons, called us outsiders. But after 77 weeks, 1,000 people have gone to jail. 80,000 people showed up in February. The governor said we weren't going to make a difference. But when we started, he was at 50% in the polls. Now he's under 30% in the polls. When we started, the legislator was at 40% in the polls. Now they're at 17% in the polls. The courts are starting to rule on our side. Young people are engaged like never before. I come to tell you from first-hand experience, if you come together, things will change. I know the power of staying together. I know it historically. When Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and white abolitionists came together, slavery was defeated. When Thurgood Marshall and white and black Jewish lawyers came together, separate but equal was defeated. When Martin Luther King and the NAACP and unions came together, we won the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. When Nelson Mandela and freedom fighters, white and black, came together, apartheid came down. I know it historically, but I also know it biblically. When Moses and his people came together and brought his rod together, then God moved and the sea opened and Pharaoh came down. When Esther and her uncle Mordecai came together, they were able to stop a plot against for the destruction of their people. When David and his rock and his slingshot came together on the battlefield, Goliath failed. And in the morning paper it read, the bigger they come, the harder they fall. When Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro came together, they calmed down the fiery furnace. God showed up in the fire. When the disciples got together in the upper room, then God poured out his spirit. They spoke in other tongues, and the fire came and gave them the power to stand up against Roman domination. I know it historically, and I know it biblically, but I stopped by to tell you I know the power personally, because 21 years ago they said I'd never walk again. The doctor said it was over. I came out of the hospital on a wheelchair and with a walker. I had a hard time. I went into depression. But when the doctors and the therapists got together, when the nutritionists and the pharmacists got together, when the prayer warrior and the church elders got together, when the faith and the word got together, when praise and joy and my strength got together, I can jump now. I can walk now. I can stand now. I can grab my brother now. I can grab my sister now. If you come together, mean politics can't stand it. If you come together, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. My God, when we all get together, what a day of rejoicing it will be when we all get together. Somebody say, what a day, what a day, what a day, what a day of justice it will be.